Welcome everyone to this edition of Channel Maven Television. If you are following us on Twitter, you can find me at Heather Margolis or at Channel Maven. I am joined today by Stephen DiFranco of IoT Advisory, and his Twitter handle is SDF-IoT, like Stephen DiFranco IoT. And of course, if you're tweeting, please use the hashtag CMCtv. And after all of that, Stephen, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, it is my pleasure.
So for those of you who don't know, I don't know how many people wouldn't know Stephen DiFranco. Your past, will you tell us a little bit about where you've been before IoT Advisory Group?
Well, I love to tell the story that my first job out of university was with a channel partner. Came right out of university, went to work for a channel partner, have been in the channel all my career. Started selling applications on PDP-11 deck computers. And
not that you're dating yourself.
I'm dating myself, and I've worked my way through. Probably people know me best from leading HP's channel. It's a fabulous opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to be with a lot of partners. And over the last 25 years, I've really tried to spend most of my career working with partners.
Great.
A few years ago, I left kind of the system side of the world to go take a look at what was happening with IoT. I became very interested in it. Went to work for Broadcom to first run their channels, and then later their IoT business unit, which we recently sold off to Cypress Semiconductor. And when that happened, I started IoT Advisory Group to help partners and the suppliers start to understand what to do in the IoT space.
And you've been speaking all over the circuit now, and that's how we reconnected, and it was great to have that conversation, and I thought it would be something that our audience would be really interested in. So let's start really simple. Let's pretend somebody hasn't heard about IoT and everything going on. It's what everyone's talking about. What's so important about it? Why should channel partners and vendors care about IoT right now?
Yeah, this is what I tell everyone. For the last 30 years, we have been putting PCs and tablets and most recently phones onto the internet. And in those years, we probably got 10, maybe 15 billion things connected, and the entire internet set up for about that many clients. The most conservative estimates are telling us that by 2020, just a few years away, there'll be 20 billion more things connected. That's an amazing amount of growth in connected devices in a very short period of time. The other thing that's really important for channel partners is we've built a whole IT world around what you create as a person, and what you store as a person, and what you share as a person. But IoT isn't about what we create, it's about what a device creates or what a sensor senses. So the kind of information we're going to collect is completely different. And that information is going to give us insights into how we manufacture things, how we grow things, how we build things, and how we ship things that we've never had before. And that's going to create whole new practices around how to deploy sensors, how to manage 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 devices, and how to build practices around developing insights and analytics. I think it's going to be a whole revolution for the industry and certainly for our partners.
And one thing you brought up in the talk you did at Channel Focus is it's not just, I'm like never that far away from this. It's all of the applications that I have on here and all of the holes that I've now created, all of the ways in which I'm getting information, but people can also get information about me. So let's first talk about examples of an IoT network, and then I would love to touch at some point on security.
Sure. So let's do a really simple type of an example, which might be around manufacturing. So we've been building assembly lines for years, and we've been putting some amount of sensor capability on those assembly lines. Is the machine on or off? Is it producing the amount of widgets it's supposed to produce? Is it producing at the rate it's supposed to produce? But what we haven't really done is known if the machine is about to fail or not about to fail. We haven't actually ever measured how accurate it is or adjust how often we can adjust it. So one thing that happens in an IoT network is you could go into a factory and you could make the factory process much more accurate. And you don't actually have to do it. The entire process can be autonomous. The sensors sense, the applications read, the application tells the machine to adjust, the machine adjusts. So that kind of loop is what IoT is really all about. There's another kind of way you can think about IoT too. Imagine a street light. Today we have a bunch of street lights, and it knows when it gets dark, so it turns the lights on, and it knows when it gets light and turns the lights off. It has no idea how many cars are going back and forth or whether there's a car there or not. So we light up a whole lot of streets even though there's no car on the street or no person on the street. In the world of an IoT world, those lights could stay relatively dim unless a car's coming down, and when it hears a car or sees a car or senses a car, it can get brighter. And the car goes away, it gets dimmer again. Save a lot of money.
And light
in the
pollution.
future, I'm sorry?
If we're here in Boulder, light pollution is a real thing. I mean, the street lights are not wanted here because of what it does to the way everything looks and people's homes and whatnot. So not just money, but nuisance.
And safety becomes a really big issue in IoT networks too. So, we hear a lot of stories, and this will probably happen, is that you'll probably walk into a Starbucks and your order will actually get processed because you happen to be near the Starbucks. That's probably going to happen sooner than you might like it. But here's something really interesting that's going to probably happen soon too. So as we get more autonomous cars, we basically create smart cars. And then we have these smart lights. Well, the smart lights can start talking to the smart cars so that a street light can tell a car that's coming at it, hey, at your rate of speed and you're going into this intersection, we're going to make you stop. Even though there's no other reason this turns red. So what's going to happen is all of these networks of things talking to things are going to enable more productivity, more convenience, and more safety. And that's a big reason why this is going to be such a successful part of the IT industry.
That's great. So when we talk about it, I mean, we're talking about some examples that are not related necessarily to our experience, our verticals that we focus on when it comes to the channel. How does this affect channel partners, and how should we be keeping that in mind?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple of things that are going to happen that are important for channel partners. First of all, some things that will happen very quickly in the world of channel partners is that we will start to see data centers get smarter. Mm-hmm. We're going to put a lot more sensor information into data centers. And you're already seeing companies like Vertiv, former Emerson electric company, starting to make really, really smart racks and really smart data centers. Yeah. But there's something else that's happening. As we move things to the cloud, we may see fewer big data centers built because people are putting things. We'll probably see a lot more small data centers, data cabinets and data closets built up because you're going to put some compute at the edge. Well, those things are going to be unmanned and uncontrolled, right? No one's going to hire somebody to look at a cabinet.
Right.
So those cabinets are going to have to become very, very smart. And I think you're going to start to see the cabinet providers and the data center providers move to more cabinets and very smart cabinets. The other thing I think that you're going to see happen is the idea of device control that we've had for a long time, where you say, hey, I've got 600 thin clients in a call center, and I can control that from the software layer. That's a lot like how you're going to control 600 nodes in an IoT network. It's basically the same idea. Are they there? Are they on? Are they working? Are they secure? Right. So I think what's going to happen is the partners who focused on things like device control, device security, audio-visual installations, these are the kind of VARs who are probably going to be well-suited and well-equipped to start to deploy networks in buildings that want to become smarter, in facilities that want to be smarter, and in data centers that want to be smarter. And I think that's where you're going to see the first installation. That'll be the 2018, 2019 IoT installations for channel.
Now, do you think the IT VARs will become IoT VARs, or is this going to be another born in the
IoT world?
Yeah, exactly. You heard it here first, people.
Great question. So here's what I think. I think that many of our traditional VARs can become IoT VARs. I don't think this is a born in the IoT world, because this isn't an economic issue. See, born in the cloud, people who are sitting there going, well, Yeah, I can build a business model around Office 365 that pays me a few pennies per license per seat. That model doesn't exist in IoT. IoT is deploying equipment, putting in commercial applications into data centers or into the cloud and managing that portfolio. It looks and feels a lot more like a thin client installation, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Thousands of devices in some control application. But there's two things that I think are really, really important for VARs to start to think about as they build their practices. One is that you actually have to work with someone or do yourself the installation of the sensors, and those are mostly ARM based, which means they're not the x86 world, they're the embedded world. And most of our VARs don't really work in the embedded world, so I think that's a new technology they'll need to know. They'll start probably hiring field application engineers with embedded experience. Today we kind of have SEs with classic thin client or client server experience. Future they'll hire FAEs with embedded experience. And the other thing is I think there'll be a lot more focus on what the edge servers are. So instead of data center servers, but edge servers. Right. And a lot more of that practice built. So yeah, I actually think our VARs can make that loop. They need to build a practice. That practice is going to have embedded technology, it'll have edge technology, and it'll have device control technology.
So
those are the three practices.
It sounds like this transition, we talk a ton about how to transition on-prem VARs to a managed service provider or even just a cloud solution provider. It sounds like this transition's a little easier, and this is what you do, right? You come in, you help vendors train their partners how to take advantage of this ecosystem and be able to serve their customers.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing a lot of, and this transition is a lot easier because it doesn't have the economic challenge that the move to the cloud did, which was a big economic challenge, which is why we ended up with these born in the cloud VARs, right?
Totally shifted their business model.
Yeah, and the other piece of it is there's a lot more advisory and consult in IoT because no one's really done this before, so to speak. So if you want to make your data center smarter, or you want to make your office building smarter, or you have a customer who, this is very real, has a manufacturing system and wants to figure out if they're optimizing their machinery. What you're going to need to do is get out there and talk to the customer, and you're probably going to make a choice on an application platform. That application platform isn't Outlook or VMware. That application program might be coming from a company like Site Machines, who've actually never done business with before, but they're an application company that makes machine control and analytic applications. And so I think the vendor choices are going to change for the VARs.
Yeah.
And I think that the companies we have today, and I think VMware is a great example, are starting to say, oh, well, even in that world, you'll need to virtualize machines. So let's show you how we'll do that with the VMware solution. Right? And VMware has announced recently they'll be able to control lots and lots and lots of devices. So we're going to see, I think what's great about this movement is it's much more geared to the natural evolution of our traditional VARs into the next phase of IoT.
Well, and that's a good message as well to the vendors. I mean, we work closely with VMware. We know that they tend to be on the leading edge of things like this and helping their partners, not just their solutions, but how does their program need to shift to be able to better enable their partners. To the maybe other vendors who tend to lag behind in that's something that they need to really step up and think about. If it's one thing if your solutions aren't there, but also if your partner program isn't there in such a way where you're enabling your partners to take advantage of these types of resources, it's something to think about as well.
Yeah, and I think this is a very important message to the vendor community in that the basic model of the way we've done partner programs for the last 30 years has been to fund the funds to go out and secure a customer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been we will help you financially afford the work you have to do to go and hunt for customers or to expand the amount of business you have with a customer. I think what's going to happen here is that that vendors are going to fund the process of really establishing a practice wrapped around themselves. And then that practice itself will attract customers. I don't think the problem in IoT is going to be finding somebody who wants more information about their business, more analytics about their business. And the cost to do this is really low. The cost of sensors is not expensive. The cost of edge computers is not expensive. This is not this heavy hardware capital issue.
Right.
The value in this is in the application and the analytics, right? So
and we mentioned the security, because you now have all of these potential openings and issues and holes that people can get information from.
Yeah, I always love to say this. It really gets a shock at everybody, but in the next 3 years, we're going to add 20 billion backdoors to the internet. And just think about that, because a little sensor that's meeting temperature or determining if a light should be on or off, the amount of security you can put there is very minimal, because it has to be small and lightweight and have a low power envelope. So you're not going to put this heavy piece of security. You could put crypto keys on them, but that's going to take up power.
Right.
And trying to shove 20 billion key associations around the internet is going to be complex. So these IoT software platforms that we're just starting to see come on the market now, from companies like Foresight and others that we've never even heard of these companies before, they're just starting to pop up. Part of the reason that they're going to exist is because the security has to come at the platform layer. The software that controls all the devices are going to have to create security.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a very, very interesting practice. You think of it this way: IoT is going to be about the sensors that go on that sense, the edge computers that kind of organize those sensors, and then the software platform that really controls those sensors. And this software platform is a place I always tell the VARs, you want to focus at the edge and the software platform. Those are the two interesting technologies you want to really focus on.
That one thing that's always so telling for me. So Joe Panettiere and Amy, who started Channel E2E, however many years ago when cloud was really burgeoning, that's when they started talking about cloud. They just launched MSSP Alert. So Managed Security Solution Provider, Service Provider Alert. So, when they start talking about something so important that they go off and start a whole new publication, that's when we really need to make sure we're paying attention to things like security.
I think I don't say this just for shock, although it gets shock, but if you want to break into my home network, just drive a car in front of my front lamp post, because there's a wireless light there and you can break into it, right? You could break into a city. If we don't have it secured right, you could break into a city by parking in a parking spot and just starting to attack the radio in the smart meter.
Right.
So this is the exciting thing. This is where VARs and partners will have opportunity, right? It's in these technical challenges where their opportunities exist.
Absolutely. Stephen, thank you so much for your time. Stephen's information is either up there on the blog post or down there on the blog post, wherever this is embedded. And thank you again. You'll have to come visit Boulder when we can do this live. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in again. # Stephen and myself. Have a great day, everyone.
Heather, you are the best. I love you do this. This is just outstanding. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Ciao.